Naomi Campbell's history is full of fierce fashion, iconic struts, and enough drama to keep the tabloids in business for decades. With a career spanning more than 4 decades, Naomi has strutted down the world's most iconic runways, graced the covers of countless magazines, and redefined what it means to be an icon. Naomi Campbell's career has been a dazzling mix of runway dominance and high-profile friendships that glitter just as much as her couture. But alongside her high-fashion triumphs, Naomi's life has been like a runway drama series with P. Diddy as her occasional co-star in the world of famous friendships. While Naomi was strutting down the world's most famous runways and perfecting her phone-throwing aim, Diddy was right there, cheering her on with a champagne glass in hand, probably saying, "Let's remix this drama." The birth of a supermodel. Born in London in 1970, Naomi was discovered at the age of 15 while shopping in Covent Garden, and by 16 she had graced the cover of British Elle, a sign of things to come. In the late 1980s and 1990s, Naomi, alongside Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, and Christy Turlington, became part of the big 5 supermodels who ruled the fashion world. They didn't just model, they were the show. Naomi made history as the first black model to appear on the covers of Vogue Paris in 1988, Vogue UK, and Time magazine, proving that she wasn't just a pretty face, she was a barrier-breaking force. Her rise to the top of the fashion industry seemed effortless, but behind the scenes, it wasn't always smooth sailing. Naomi's strong will and uncompromising attitude earned her both admiration and infamy. While her catwalk was perfect, her temper was just as fierce, and eventually that fiery nature would get her into some trouble. Diva behaviors and phone-throwing fiascos. From breaking barriers as the first black model on countless magazine covers to occasionally breaking phones and, let's be honest, maybe some egos, Naomi's career is the perfect mix of glamour and oh no, she didn't. The early 2000s were when Naomi's other talent making headlines for all the wrong reasons came into full bloom. Forget about runway drama, Naomi was busy turning her personal life into a series of lawsuits and public apologies. One of her most infamous scandals, the phone-throwing incidents, yes, you read that right. Naomi became the poster child for "Don't Make Me Angry" when she was accused of throwing phones at assistants. In one notable incident in 2006, she was arrested for assault after allegedly hitting her housekeeper with a BlackBerry. Back when people used BlackBerries, of course, over the years, more assistants came forward with claims of assault, and Naomi's reputation for being a bit high maintenance was cemented. Over the years, several employees have sued Naomi, claiming mistreatment and assault. She's reportedly thrown more than just phones, shoes, handbags, and even punches have flown when Naomi's temper flared. While most of us try to avoid workplace conflict, Naomi was known for turning minor inconveniences into full-on legal battles. Naomi's legal battles over these outbursts were numerous, and she often made headlines for her diva antics in court. Her diva reputation grew even stronger when she was sentenced to 5 days of community service following an incident where she assaulted her assistant with a phone. In typical Naomi fashion, she turned up for her community service in haute couture outfits, treating it like yet another runway appearance. Only Naomi could turn cleaning floors into a runway event. One of Naomi's more bizarre scandals involves, of all things, blood diamonds. In 2010, she found herself entangled in the war crimes trial of former Liberian President Charles Taylor. Naomi was accused of receiving blood diamonds, diamonds mined in war zones and sold to finance armed conflict as a gift from Taylor after a dinner in 1997. The supermodel initially denied knowing the origins of the diamonds, famously claiming that they were dirty little stones she didn't give much thought to. Her testimony during the trial was memorable, to say the least. She admitted to receiving the diamonds but downplayed the significance, leaving many to wonder how casually one could just forget they were handed diamonds by a former dictator. The scandal once again put Naomi in the headlines, reminding the world that her life was never short on controversy. But in true supermodel fashion, she somehow always managed to walk away from the chaos, sometimes quite literally unscathed, with her career largely unaffected. And the billionaire. Naomi's love life has been equally headline-worthy, featuring a revolving door of high-profile relationships that were as glamorous as they were dramatic. She dated actor Robert De Niro and Formula One boss Flavio Briatore, and was linked to several musicians and athletes. But one of her most notorious relationships was with Russian billionaire Vladislav Doronin. Their romance was as over the top as you'd expect, complete with luxurious vacations, private jets, and jaw-dropping gifts. However, even this romance eventually soured, with Doronin suing Naomi in 2020, claiming she owed him money and had held on to some of his property. Because, of course, no Naomi Campbell relationship would be complete without a little lawsuit thrown in for good measure. The charity scandal when fashion for relief became fashion confusion? In the latest edition of Supermodels Behaving Badly, Naomi Campbell's charity scandal has strutted down the runway, because why settle for just catwalk drama when you can add some financial controversy to the mix? Not content with just ruling the runway, Naomi turned her attention to philanthropy. In 2005, she founded Fashion for Relief, a charity aimed at raising funds for global disasters and supporting underprivileged communities. The charity became known for its glamorous fashion shows featuring top models and designers, with proceeds going to good causes. On the surface, it seemed like Naomi was using her platform for positive change. But in true Naomi fashion, scandal was never far behind, and Naomi's attempt to give back to the world through her charity Fashion for Relief took a not-so-fabulous turn. Investigation overview. The Charity Commission launched its investigation into Fashion for Relief in 2021, following concerns about how the organization was handling its finances. The investigation lasted several years, and in 2024, the Commission released its findings, which were damning for the charity's management and trustees. The investigation found that from 2015 to 2022, less than 9% of the charity's overall expenditures were used for grants or to support charitable causes. This was an alarmingly low percentage, raising questions about where the rest of the funds had gone. The Commission uncovered that a significant portion of the charity's funds was being used for luxury expenses, many of which were directly tied to Naomi Campbell's personal needs. One of the most controversial findings involved a $7,800 bill for a 3-night stay at a 5-star hotel in Cannes during a fundraising event in 2018, which was charged to the charity. Other expenditures included spa treatments, room service, security costs, and even cigarettes. In another instance, $12,300 was spent on a flight from London to Nice to transport art and jewelry for a fundraising event. Mismanagement and governance failures. The Charity Commission found that Fashion for Relief suffered from a severe lack of governance and financial oversight. Trustees, including Naomi Campbell, failed to demonstrate how these expenses were cost-effective or in the best interest of the charity. There was also a clear failure to document the rationale for such expenditures or to provide any proof that they were related to the charity's mission. One of the key findings of the investigation was that the charity did not have adequate financial controls in place. The Commission reported that the trustees did not ensure proper oversight of fundraising methods, nor did they act in the charity's best interest when deciding how to spend the money it raised. This lack of oversight led to what the Commission described as misconduct and mismanagement by the trustees. The charity also failed in its partnerships with other organizations. For instance, it did not effectively manage its partnerships with Save the Children and the Mayor's Fund for London. In these cases, Fashion for Relief failed to transfer funds as promised to support these other charitable initiatives. As a result, the Commission had to appoint interim managers to take over the charity's operations, recover lost funds, and ensure that outstanding payments were made, financial recovery, and bans on trustees. One of the outcomes of the investigation was the recovery of over $344,000 in charitable funds, with an additional $98,000 being protected from further misuse. The Charity Commission's intervention ensured that these funds would be redistributed to the charitable causes originally intended to benefit from Fashion for Relief's fundraising efforts. As a result of the investigation, Naomi Campbell and 2 other trustees, Bianca Helmich and Veronica Cho, were disqualified from serving as charity trustees. Campbell received a 5-year ban, while Helmich and Chu were disqualified for 9 and 4 years, respectively. The ban prevents them from holding any senior management positions within charities in the UK for the duration of their disqualification. Naomi Campbell's response. Naomi claimed that she wasn't directly involved in the charity's finances and blamed the mismanagement on others. She promised to investigate the situation herself, but the damage was done. The scandal knocked a few sequins off her reputation, and her philanthropic efforts now have a dark cloud hanging over it. But through it all, Naomi's ability to stay unbothered remained as flawless as ever. Naomi Campbell's charity scandal is like P. Diddy's lawsuit drama, where both seem to be playing a high-stakes game of whose PR team can fix this faster, proving that even in friendship, they manage to match each other in headline-making chaos. Despite the endless stream of scandals, lawsuits, and temper tantrums, Naomi Campbell has remained an indomitable force in the fashion world. At 50, she still commands the runway, proving that age is just a number when you're Naomi Campbell. Her career, once thought to be in danger thanks to her headline-grabbing antics, has not only survived but thrived. She's appeared on Vogue covers, walked in fashion shows, and served as a mentor to up-and-coming models. Naomi's ability to reinvent herself has been her greatest asset. Where others might have crumbled under the weight of public scrutiny, Naomi has walked through it all with her head held high and a don't-mess-with-me attitude. Naomi remains unapologetically herself, with phone in hand, ready for whatever comes her way.